Welcome to Achieving Expanded Awareness to Take Thought Beyond the Norm as a Leader. This is with New Era Thought Leader-preneurs, AliNICOLE WOW and Brenda Lynn Jacobson. And we are going to have a brief discussion about expanded awareness and then get into a brief exercise to help you start to take your thought beyond the norm. So this is going to be exciting and definitely expansive. So Brenda, looking forward to this interaction and conversation
Absolutely.
that we'll have. Mm-hmm.
They're always so insightful for me, and I anticipate for the listeners, for the students that are taking some of these.
Yes.
It's very evolutionary training. So thank you for inviting me to join and for joining me on this.
Thank you. And I love the way we complement each other so well in what we bring forth. And that's really important because we allow ourselves to be expanded and take ourselves beyond our norms. And then we are able to help others, do the same. So I want to kind of talk a little bit about expanded awareness just briefly, and then we'll get into doing an exercise that's called Elevated and Evolutionized Expansion. And that's what expanded awareness, takes us into. And so when we talk about just awareness in general, we know that is, being aware, any term that you can come up with to describe what awareness means, in the sense is that, there's a knowing, there's a knowledge around a particular area. And we learn about different things, or we become aware, and then we can acknowledge, their state of existence or what they mean. And in this sort of higher way of being, especially as it relates to in leadership aspect, one of the things I train on, there's 3 core areas, is that you have to have expanded awareness. And that expanded awareness then leads to new levels of comprehension that also lead, I'll just say, new era thought leaders, because that's primarily who we're focused on. It leads them into starting to pioneering their own lane of greater impact. And so awareness alone is never enough. We have to be able to expand continuously, and thought alone is not enough. Even new thoughts, you have to continue to expand, that. So before we get into the exercise that Brenda is in for a treat and a surprise, because she doesn't know the exercise, so this is going to be fresh for her. So she'll be a demonstration for those, who are participating, who are listening. So Brenda, do you want to share anything around just awareness, in general, or the importance of expanding that awareness before we get into the exercise?
Sure. What I really, really like the word comprehension. That really jumped out in your narrative there, because like you said, people can be aware of things that are happening around them, but the comprehension, the actually bringing that into a usable form for them to move forward with, has often been void in those in the past. We haven't comprehended at a higher level. We may have comprehended at the low vibrational level, but not at a higher vibrational level. And it's a totally different experience. So that's what we're leading people through, is developing that comprehension, opening their mind to see things from a higher perspective, and comprehend them from that higher elevation.
Vantage point. Absolutely. Yes, that higher elevation. You said it.
When you see something on earth, it looks one way. When you elevate yourself up, if you go up and stand on a cliff or stand at a higher elevation, you see a totally different meaning to what was happening there. And that's what we're bringing people through in these courses, in these exercises, is letting them look at it from a higher perspective and see something completely different than they thought they were seeing. in that lower vibration.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So are you ready to advance yourself in this space?
I am ready for
summit
it.
to summit.
Always an adventure with you, AliNICOLE.
Thank you. And it is always one with you as well, one that I enjoy, so
as
much.
do I.
I do, yes. Okay, so take a couple of deep breaths, please.
Okay.
Let's take one more. Okay. So I love being able to ask empowering questions and then often following up with some type of statement to complete. So this type of exercise will be much like that. Brenda Lynn, what does it mean to take thought beyond the norm? And you answer when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, go ahead. What does it mean to take thought?
You want me to answer this time? Okay, sorry, I missed that.
Well, oh, no, here we go. You know what? Thank you, because guess what? We actually can simplify this process. I can go on to the next part, and then we can kind of cohesively do it from a different section. So thank you. All things divine. Okay, so you've jotted down what that means. Now, let's expand that awareness by you now answering, my expanded awareness of this thought is, some may feel their brain stretch. It's like, this exercise gets really interesting. It is very expansive, though. Even if it stretches 1 or 2 words more than what the previous, statement was, that's still very much, expansion. And then you let me know when I can move on to the next. Okay.
I am ready for you.
All right. So let's evolutionize that awareness by now asking, what is the evolution of this understanding? So the understanding of the expanded awareness, you just jot it down. Ask, what is the evolution of that understanding? And then jot that down.
All right.
Okay. And I think what I'll do is I'll just go, there's kind of 3 sections to this, but I think I'm just going to go through all of them, and then we'll just talk about it, at the end.
Okay.
So what does thought leadership mean to me? So what does thought leadership mean to me?
Okay.
All right. So now let's expand that awareness.
Okay.
Yes. Now by, answering, my expanded awareness of this thought is,
all right.
okay. So now let's evolutionize that awareness by asking again, what is the evolution of this understanding or this awareness? What is the evolution of that?
Okay.
Okay. So now, after doing this exercise, you can state that you feel that your current leadership mission or position is.
All right.
Okay, and let's expand that awareness. So my expanded awareness of this thought is.
Okay.
Okay, and let's, to conclude, let's evolutionize this awareness by asking, what is the evolution of this understanding?
Okay.
Wow. Okay. You get done fairly quickly. That's because your evolutionary expansion is pretty rapid. And something I want to say before I have you to share is one of the greatest benefits of an exercise like this is that when we think that we are aware of something, it gives us in the moment to be even more open to another level of it quickly revealing itself to us. And then as that reveals itself to us, then also we can see the evolution of the thought just in a short frame context or time frame, I should say. But when we actually do a process like this consistently and around different areas, within our life in leadership, you'd be amazed at how you expand exponentially within a very short window of time. That's the evolutionary thinking or the quantum thinking, if you will, that puts you in these different states of awareness, fairly quickly, and then will allow you to start executing at a higher, level. And so, yeah, of course, people can go back and spend more time, doing this. So, okay, let's go through.
That was brilliant. That was brilliant,
answers.
AliNICOLE.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. And of course, I love how you can just get in and have no clue what the exercises are going to be, and then just, be able to share.
Before you get going on that, I just want to share what I did experience in this is that when the first question was easy. The second one, I'm going, oh, and I immediately tried to go into my rational thought process, which put me into panic. Like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what the answer is going to be. And when I actually released that, because that is a habit to go there. All of us have that habit. Of
course, absolutely.
And I'm no different. I went there and I'm going, I don't have an answer for that. And then as I released it and just allowed that higher wisdom to come in, the answers came through. I don't know if they make any sense. We'll see when I repeat. But it was that process of moving out of that fear and that fraction of that old world and stepping into the expansion of the new world that allowed the answers to flow through. So I just wanted to
thank you
with that.
Yes, thank you so much. And the answers, there aren't any wrong answers. And even on expanded awareness answers, even if it's one extra word or one, it still is expansive because it expanded it beyond, what it was. And of course, because we're doing this in a short time frame, that, you're kind of doing it more in a rapid pace, anyway, than if you were actually doing the process and, taking, a certain amount of time just to be present with, with those, answers that are insights, I should say, that are coming. So, but thank you for sharing that. That was wonderful, because I'm sure that many others are thinking like, and that's why even initially I was saying that, oh, your brain may feels like it's stretching some in some cases and it is, because it is expanding, even if it's stretching it just a little bit, and then allowing you to start catching up with a new level of comprehension around something you're aware of, and then becoming more aware really moment to moment. And within like your work, the awakening, consciously, it's allowing that rapid awakening and consciously expanding, to happen. So, all right. So what does it mean to take thought beyond the norm?
It means to see things from that higher perspective. Some of these I feel like we addressed in our narrative at the beginning, but really just being able to step to a higher plane and see the same situation from a different perspective, from a different view of what is going on.
Yeah, absolutely. And your expanded awareness of that thought
is that nothing is static. It's ever changing. So even from that higher perspective, when you see something and decide what it is, you can't attach to that because it's ever changing. You're not always going to know where you're going or what the next step is. Yeah, it's because it's dynamic.
Oh, yes. I love that answer. Yes. And it's so true, because even though we become aware of something, we can't, like you said, we can't rely just on that awareness too. We have to be open moment to moment that awarenesses are adding up as a different equation. And that's how we really get to the evolution of something more meaningful that we can put into action that yields us more massive results, no matter what it is that we're doing, is when we're in the evolutionary state, of all those awarenesses accumulating. So the evolution of this understanding
was that the awareness of what we're seeing and the bringing it into insight was didn't just come from within me. It came from higher forms of wisdom and a trust in those higher forms. That's where the awareness really started to expand.
Okay, yes, it evolutionized itself in that way. Nice. Okay. So what does thought leadership mean to you? What does thought leadership mean to you?
It means being a trailbreaker, taking that road less traveled, and even going off trail where there isn't any road, and exploring the potential that's out there that nobody else is looking at.
Beautiful. And your expanded awareness of this thought was
that it takes an enormous amount of courage to take that leap into the void and know that you're safe, know that you're going to uncover some brilliant new idea or awareness of something, but it takes courage to take that leap.
Absolutely. And the evolution of that understanding
is that knowing that you're safe, but that absolute trust in that higher wisdom that you're now tapped into.
That within itself is another training, and for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. After doing this exercise, you feel that your current leadership mission or position is, or it could be
is to open possibilities for other people to follow. Is back to that trailbreaker thing, is to open new trails, to be that one that has the courage to step into the void and create a pathway for others to follow.
I love that. And I love the vibration of the trailbreaker, even more so than the trailblazer, and because it is definitely has the trailblazing energy in it, but it is breaking barriers. And it actually is, from a pioneer perspective, is the one who is actually creating the paths. And a lot of times that's what happens with thought leaders. And of course, you and I teach on really being a conscious thought leader, is, the energy of being the one who not just discovers a path for themselves in a sense, but the one who actually creates paths, who saw no options, who saw nothing in sight, no, demonstration, no pilot of anything. And they had to actually create it, yes, for themselves, but also then they're opening that gateway for others, like what you mentioned. So now let me remember where I was. I did I ask you to expand on that thought yet or not?
No, you stated the thought.
Okay, so now let's expand. What was the expanded awareness of that thought?
Is that for it to be really viable, I have to set the vibrational tone for others. It's not just
perfect,
rationally saying here's the path to follow, but creating that vibrational tone that others can step into so that the journey is easy for them. Because it's meant to be easy in this higher vibration.
Yes, it is. Absolutely.
But they have to be in that they have to step into that proper vibrational tone of the journey in order for them to tap into that ease and grace.
Oh, magnificent. Yes. And when you evolutionize that awareness, what was the evolution of that understanding?
Is that even although you're stepping into a void and you're feeling alone as you break that trail, that there is so many others working in unison with you that, and this is what makes it so easy once you take that leap of faith, is you've got so much support out there that is going to, when you can tap into that, when you're at that vibrational level where you're open to that higher wisdom, there is such a big community of people that are working with you on this exact same trail that you can tap into.
Yes.
So you're not alone on the journey.
Not alone. Absolutely. Wow. So Brenda, this was great. I would love to just, and I know you shared kind of initially how that was for you, but now that we've actually gone through this, I would love just to hear your thoughts about you've had the initial experience of doing it, but now actually sharing that energy, sharing what came up. How does that feel? What are your, thoughts or expanded awareness around that?
I feel a sense of joy and excitement around this that wasn't there when we started this exercise.
Oh, that's great.
Joy, that peace of just knowing that we're moving into this brilliant new space, and we're opening those channels for others to follow and others to follow them. What we're looking for right now is that first wave of thought leaders to become conscious, to become vibrationally aligned with this accelerated energy. And I just feel thrilled to be a part of the expedition that we're taking people on.
Yes, an expedition is the perfect word for sure, because that's exactly what's happening. And I love, what you shared. That's so beautiful and brilliant. And I really believe just sets the listeners up for their greater expansion, as well. So something I want to say really quickly before Brenda Lynn, I have you to close us out, is we have an additional conversational training that's called Awakening the Conscious Thought Leader Within. And you'll learn in the description how you can actually access that training. But also there's going to be information about both Brenda Lynn and I, within the description. And so this has been really great. And this exercise is just one, like I said, rapidly gets you into expanded thought and evolutionary energy to start moving into exactly what Brenda mentioned, this brilliant new world. But in order to get into this brilliant new expansion, you have to have the tools and techniques, so to speak, not from a hard standpoint, but easy things like this to start transitioning you so that you can learn what it's going to take, what's required to move you into this newer energy, because it causes you to think differently, then it causes you to be differently. So, so I turn it over to you, Brenda Lynn, and thank you so much for always, these trainings that we do together, but also your willingness and openness to step into your own void and space to come up with your unique genius energy and allow divine, wisdom to fill you too for your answers. So I turn it over to you.
Very welcome. It's always a tremendous experience. Once you step into this accelerated energy and you open, and you embrace this vibration, the projects like these are not work anymore. They're just pure joy for me. They test my ability to expand my own mind and to evolve to the next level and the next level. But that evolution starts to happen so quickly and so easily. So I would love to invite others to join us on this journey. It is just, it's playful. It's playful and it's fun. And the community is growing exponentially. Every day, more and more people are stepping into this. So those who really do see themselves as thought leaders, who others see as thought leaders, can elevate their experience and the experience of those that are following them just by stepping into this new world and embracing it as a new way of being. It's a brilliant journey. Love to have you join us. It's going to be an exciting new world.